Welcome to Monster Claws. We're going to show you how to install Betaflight into a Revolt flight controller. And let's start with the soldering at the bottom and how to configure this. With the Revolt version 2, you get to decide on which ports you want inverted or uninverted. And that's inverted means inverted signals like with the FrSky, and uninverted are the S buses that are coming from like the Spectrum line. So decide what you're going to do, and you're going to do that on TX1. Here you take a look at what I'm doing is I'm hooking up an inverted receiver to TX1, and I'm going to solder 5 volts going to that as well. If you have a version 1, then you're just going to select the voltage that's going to either either UART1 or UART3. 3 is going to be uninverted for your Spectrum guys, and for you inverted guys like FrSky, you're going to select 5 volts going to UART1. Now, when you're done, come back and we're going to show you a little bit of wiring. Okay, head on down to revoltfc.com and take a look at all the wiring diagrams there, and wire it up, because what you're going to do is you're going to use the X1234 motor mix inside of Betaflight to be able to configure this and fly this. So whatever tool you use, I use just one of these things, and I hold this across the boot pins, plug it in, and you end up in DFU mode to flash Betaflight. Now you go to the firmware flasher and you select Revolt and choose the firmware version. Use the latest one, the 3.1.6, and have everything off. Go down to here, load firmware, load firmware online, and it'll load it up, and then go ahead and flash firmware on DFU mode, and it should be it. So the only thing that you'll have to do to get your Revolt working and hooked up with Betaflight is to put this command in, set serial, so set space serial RX underscore half duplex equals on, and press enter, and then type in save and press enter, and that'll allow you to run your serial S bus stuff onto the Revolt boards, and that's it. I signed on to the Revolt board. What's nice is that you can use, in the Revolt version 2, depending on how you soldered up the back of the board, I have mine on UART1 on serial RX, and UART3 I enabled TBS Smart Audio. I did forget to tell you, from your TBS Unify Pro for the Smart Audio, take the audio cable and wire it to TX3. That is in TX3 is the is UART3 TX. That's that pad right there. Okay. On the configuration screen, I have serial S bus selected, and of course, because it's a Revolt, I haven't tried it, but we can enable running 32K sampling mode for the under system configuration just by hitting that switch. Okay, this is pretty cool. If you buy one of these on-the-go cables for your Android device, it's for using any kind of USB peripherals. You can hook that up, and I'll show you what it looks like to run smart audio from your tablet or your phone. So I got it all set up, and I have my Android app connected with the OTG cable, with the USB cable running direct to the flight controller, and it's plugged in and everything's powered up. So what we can do now is we can use this FLight VTX, open that up, okay, and it'll say allow the app to access the USB device, and you say okay, and boom, you look at it, take a look and see what happens. We have the PID VTX flight controller. It's on band R channel 2, powers on 200, and we are on pit mode, and that's it. So all you have to do is hit one of these selections. And I like this better than using the goggles. It's just as good as using your Tyrannus with the Lewis grip. It's a whole lot less complicated. I don't like using goggles because when you use goggles, you have to change it in there, and then you have to turn it around and change the channel on your goggles and put your goggles back on. So it really is a waste of time for me, and this is just as good. Take a look at it. This is one of the features that I really like, and it's really convenient. All right, happy flying.